Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM. In this edition, General Legal Counsel justifies mass failure of students in Ghana School of Law entrance examination as they disclosed to Parliament how more than 50% of the students deviated from some of the questions.
And the General Legal Counsel will go around all the law schools and inspect the facilities, their staff, their curriculum, and set standards. Today I have come satisfied that something is happening.
And as the GLC seeks legal backing to deal with poor performing law faculties across the country, we hear from former President Rawlings, who has been criticizing the council.
93% failure. And you think you can get away with blaming the students? You don't blame the establishment, the institution?
The former president has also been accusing former President Kufuor of supervising the building of a hotel and luxury apartment complex on a waterway while questioning his legacy in the wake of recent floods in parts of the country.
The Kufuor one, those villaggio villages and those things, built in a waterway. So if he can do it, why can't others do it? Their houses and their factories on the southern side of the motorway.
We'll also hear from the former president on how his daughter was a victim of sex for grades.
And we'll hear the story of a 55-year-old woman who's driven by her passion to provide free education to almost 300 poor and vulnerable peoples in the central region town of Ikwantanan.
And we are trying our very best, especially the girl child. We teach these children all about life.
We'll find out why the school faces an imminent shutdown. And then later on the flip side, we'll hear from the Assemblyman aspirant, a.k.a. Honorable Aponche, who once promised a haircut for every child in his assembly. He is back again with more freebies.
We'll get one biogas toilet, which is flashy and ashy. You see, so I'll provide every one house one toilet for Garibas.
And in business, the economist Professor Eric Osesibe proposes expenditure cuts to help deal with revenue mobilization challenges.
If you want to join us with your views and comments, send us a WhatsApp 0244-340437. My name is Evans Mensah.
I am MF Apao, and Newsnight, as always, is brought to you by Puma Card from Puma Energy, cash-free convenience. And in our very first story for tonight, they've been under immense public pressure recently, accused of being out of touch with reality. Well, today, members of the General Legal Counsel, led by a judge of the Supreme Court, have taken their case to Parliament, justifying the mass failure of students who sought access into the Ghana School of Law.
Well, they have revealed to the Constitution and Legal Affairs Committee in Parliament details of the entrance examination report. For instance, the report showed that more than 50% of students who wrote the exam deviated from the first question. They also found that some law faculties across the country were violating the terms of the accreditation. Listen to the chairman of the committee, Ben Abdallah.
Now, some of the revelations that they've made are very staggering. We didn't know that they deliver an examiner's report. Today they told us. We had heard that there was an attempt to ask for more facilities to cater for at least more students that will be entering the law school to the tune of, let's say, 1,000. But now they have confirmed it before us. One other revelation that they made for us, which is so thunder striking, is that the first question of the exam was gotten wrong by about 50% of the students.
So 50% deviated from the first question.
That is what they told us. And if
were there any evidence to support that?
And if that is indeed the case, then this should come as a surprise
But did you ask for any evidence to support that? Probably could just be just a mere talk or mere allegation that they are making.
We have no reason to doubt their integrity.
So finally, what's the way forward now?
So what the starting point is to have a holistic review of the law, regulating the running of legal education in Ghana. Right. Let's not forget that they also intend to build a law village, and they are sourcing for funds, and the information they gave us is to the effect that the funds will soon be available. So as and when the funds are available, they will immediately start with the construction of the law village.
Now, ranking member on the Constitution and Legal Affairs Committee, Nusa Fuseni, who had been a strong critic of the General Legal Council, says he's been convinced his previous position against the council was all wrong. He says the council is currently pushing through a new bill that will empower it to deal with poor-performing faculties across the country.
That it appears that we are all on the same wavelength. They have told us, and Chairman will confirm, that there is a bill currently before the Attorney General's office. They are seeking to bring a law that will constitute them as an accreditation body for law faculties that is seeking to constitute the General Legal Council into a regulatory body. And the General Legal Council will go around all the law schools or the schools offering law.
So the faculties.
Faculties. And inspect the facilities, their staff, their curriculum, and set standards. That's what we have been talking about. That's what we have been talking about. We've been saying that, look, if you want to address the issue of quality, you must not look at the end product. You must look at the beginning of the value chain. And that's if they are already thinking along those lines, probably if they have communicated, we wouldn't be carrying our swords and drawing daggers.
And from the grapevine,
and then they admitted today,
right,
that this is a system problem.
And why is it so?
Because we have not planned. We have failed in our planning. That we started as a law school of small number of people, and we are growing. Meanwhile, we have not planned consistent with the growth. That's the system problem.
So how do you address that problem?
So that now they're saying, look, we are even thinking of establishing a law village at the University of Ghana. We've already paid for the land. Government has promised to advance monies. And then we'll go and set up. We are thinking that when we complete the law village, the initial intake will be 1,500. So I'm telling you, today I've come satisfied that something is happening.
But from the grapevine, I was told that, now the biggest problem is with the faculties.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So,
yes.
So they address that. They gave example of somebody who is a head of, a dean of a school of law, a faculty of law, who is not a lawyer.
Well, former President Jerry John Rawlings, who has today been meeting with executives of the Ghana Journalists Association, has also been speaking about the role of the General Legal Council in the wake of the mass failures. He says her daughter was also a victim.
My daughter was also a victim of, as far back as what you call it. Is somebody feeling politically insecure for Rawlings' daughter to earn a so-and-so? You get what I'm saying? They were knocked her down. So that serves as, the benchmark. Knock everybody else down. You get what I'm saying? In their case, they didn't, step it up. People had to dissuade her not to fight it out. Why? Maybe, I guess this is why she's so unenthusiastic about it. There's some place in Nzima area, one of these foreign big oil companies was going to supposedly develop something for some of the Nzima area people. Meanwhile, they were taking a huge tract of land for almost nothing. This girl heard about it, decided to go and represent the people. That foreign oil company washed their hands off it. They backed off. They turned around and wanted to employ her. Said she's not interested. Rawlings Banu, if Rawlings back can suffer this, how much more? One will the others. 93% failure. And you think you can get away with blaming the students? You don't blame the establishment, the institution? Small demo. Wasn't that the reason for that demo, demonstration? water cannons, go firing rubber bullets at them. No matter how bad these things can be, destroying, killing the fire of idealism in the youth, you're destroying your future.
We can now speak to the Dean of the Faculty of Law at Mount Crest University College, Kweku Ansah-Asare. Mr. Ansah-Asare, thank you for your time here on Newsnight.
Thank you too, and good evening to your listeners.
Thankfully, we've also been joined by the chairman of the Legal Constitutional Affairs Committee in Parliament. They met with the GLC today. Mr. Ben Abdallah, thank you for your time, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir, and good evening to all your listeners.
Mr. Ansah-Asare, let me start with you. The GLC and the examiners appeared before the MPs. One of the key things they told the MPs was that the mass failure was partly because of poor quality teaching at the faculties. They disclosed that more than 50% of these students were so poor, they deviated in answering the first question because some of these faculties are just not good enough. You run a faculty. What's your reaction to that?
Thank you very much. My immediate reaction is that the conclusion of the General Legal Council as to the overall assessment, leading to the general underperformance, is flawed in the sense that it is they who are saying that the students deviated. The IEB has administered the exam, and in their report, I haven't cited the report, but from what you are saying, it seems to me that what they are saying is that the students deviated. Now, it is the examiner's word against the students' word. The students are saying they perform creditably. Do we have any neutral persons who are going to vet? In the universities, we have external examiners, so that the first examiner marks, then there's an internal examiner who will moderate, then there's an external examiner. So at least 3 people will have the opportunity of assessing or reassessing and conducting the evaluations. In the case of the General Legal Council, first of all, they guide the students. Hear no evil, see no evil, complain about no evil, even before they write the exam. And therefore, what the system is actually administering is injustice. That you write the exam, whether you do well or not, don't complain. I mean, where do we have such a system? I agree with Jerry Rawlings. He's saying that it is the system and not the student. If we want to blame. Now, I am of the view that in order to be fair to the students, all the 1,840 scripts should be retained, should be made available. Let the General Legal Council, if they are confident, let the General Legal Council appoint or invite external examiners from neutral law schools, maybe the Nigerian law school, the English law school, because I don't have faith in what is going on now. I've said it before, and I've been invited. I'll continue to speak because I'm one of the nation's conscience as far as legal education is concerned. Please let us all make the 1,840 scripts available. Invite other persons who are non-Ghanaians, who have had something to do with examination, who know about assessment. Let them take a second or even third look at the script.
Well, Mr. Ansah-Asare, the committee in Parliament today sought to do something about it. Thankfully, as I said, the chairman is on the line. Let me see if this is something they'll push now that they've already begun conversations with the GLC. Mr. Ben Abdallah, you heard Mr. Ansah-Asare there. He is himself the dean of a faculty. His suggestion is, if what they told you today is true, they should just surrender these papers so that an external independent body will double check. What's your take on that?
Okay, let me say good evening to Mr. Ansah-Asare, and then say that the General Legal Council works within the confines of the law, the Legal Profession Act, and then its accompanying regulations. What we do know in the regulations is the existence of the independent examination body. The General Legal Council doesn't have the capacity and the power to resort to an external independent examination body to also remark the script, to also mark the script or the examination papers that the independent examination body has already done. That, I think, will be ultra vary the powers of the General Legal Council. I don't think they have the capacity to do that, or they have the power or the mandate to do that.
But
that is a good idea. That is a good suggestion coming from him. But it is worthy to note that when we met the General Legal Council, what they told us was that any paper that is marked is remarked, but a different examiner.
So there are two different individuals who will mark one paper.
Yes. So what it means is that no single paper is marked once. Every single examination paper is marked once and marked twice in order to ensure that the first person who marked the paper got everything right. That is what they told us.
And this is something that is easily verifiable, that you believe, based on what you've heard today.
No, it's not. It's not a matter of believing. This is what is coming from the General Legal Council.
And I've heard you say that you don't have any basis to doubt the integrity of the people who came before you today.
Yes, I have no basis to doubt the integrity of the people who came before us, because I know they are people of integrity, unless I have a contrary evidence to that effect. But the fact of the matter is that it is said in Chi that if you listen to this side, listen to the other side. Today, we have met the General Legal Council. We are not making any definitive conclusion.
But I've heard your ranking say, yes, as for him, he's headed, he's now convinced.
He says he's persuaded.
Yes.
He says he's persuaded. What we intend to do is also to meet the Association of the Law Students so that they will also come before us and tell us their side of the story. Then after that, we will make a determination on that and present a report to the plenary.
Sorry, there's also a substantive matter that came up today, which is that the GLC, currently there's a bill that the Attorney General is considering, which, if it's considered and passed, will make the GLC an accreditation body when it comes to faculties such as yours. And one of the things they'll be doing is ensuring that the standards are upheld, because the belief is that the problem stems from the faculties themselves. What do you make of that approach?
Again, wrong approach. It fails to recognize or acknowledge the distinction between the academic phase of legal education and the professional phase of legal education. All the universities are established by Act of Parliament, and they are autonomous. That is why we have academic freedom. The General Legal Council, cannot extend its tentacles to the faculties. The faculties are autonomous. Now, if you look at the law establishing the General Legal Council, that is Act 32, Section 13 empowers the General Legal Council to make arrangements for establishing a system of legal education. Now, Section 14 then empowers the General Legal Council, to take steps as it will deem necessary. What the language of Act 32 focuses on is professional legal education. And therefore, it says that any person who shall be admitted into the Ghana School of Law shall have been in possession of an LLB degree or an analogous law degree. So it presupposes that the admittance would have completed a course of study in the university where the General Legal Council's powers do not, extend to. That is it. Secondly, the law school itself is not established by law. The Ghana School of Law is not established by law. What Act 32 empowered the General Legal Council to do is to establish a medium where the council could make arrangements to administer instructional ideas to people who want to become lawyers. Now, people who go to the university do not necessarily become lawyers. They are law graduates. If you finish and obtain the LLB, until you go and see the four corners of the law school building and audit in courses and instructions there, and are certified proficient, in the law to be enrolled on the roll of Ghana lawyers, you are not a lawyer. And therefore, both the General Legal Council and our Parliament should recognize the distinction between the academic phase of legal education and the professional phase. I may decide not to do the professional one. I'm content with my LLB. The General Legal Council has no control over that.
Mr. Sassari, talking about the General Legal Council, and now that I have you on the line, just to just clear this up, you were before them recently for comments you've made on this subject and others. How did that go, and what was the point of the invitation?
Well, the point of the invitation...
sorry, Mr. Ben Abdallah, just a second. I just want to hear briefly from Mr. Sassari. Yes, Mr. Sassari.
Yes, I received a letter from them, and being my former employers, out of respect, I had to honor the invitation. I told them that, and I made it quite plain that as far as I was concerned, there was no complainant here. So I sought to know who the complainant was in this matter. Secondly, the nature of the invitation. Was it just a discourse, to sort out our differences, or it was an investigative body? They said they will answer when they have a meeting on Friday. But Evans, that wouldn't deter me at all from speaking my mind. When it comes to legal education, I have a duty to this nation. I have to be alive to my responsibilities. It's either the deans of the various law faculties must now stand up and talk. They should stand up and be counted. The National Union of Ghana Students, this involves not only the present generation, future generation. I mean, we are, like the King said, we are trying to give power to the General Legal Council. So what are the universities going to do? If I want to study law and Akan, any of the Akan languages, or law and geography, or law and archaeology, what power has the General Legal Council to tell me I can't combine law and archaeology?
Mr. Sansari, just for clarity, just for clarity, is this inquiry? Just for clarity, is this inquiry by the GLC into you one that they are empowered to do, which is because you're a lawyer yourself? They have the power to look at disciplinary issues when it comes to lawyers and their conduct. Is this what it is? And in this appearing before them,
my mind is not a misconduct. Lawyers are trained to be bold, and I'm a bold lawyer. I'm not a timorous. I'm not afraid. I'll speak my mind. Speaking one's mind, I may what I said may have not measured in terms of elegance and sobriety, but that is another thing.
So are they looking into the possibility of? Are they looking into the possibility? Are they looking into the possibility of sanctioning you? Is that what they told you?
It will be baseless. I mean, on what grounds are they going to sanction me? What I see is to make me stop talking. I will not stop talking.
So for you, this is an attempt to gag you.
I'm prepared to go to jail if I have to protect the integrity of the examination system of the General Legal Council. I'm prepared to sacrifice my life. The thing is, Ghana belongs to all of us. What is happening now is that one person, the chairperson of the General Legal Council, wants to have everything to say and do about the admission of law students. We should stop it. One person. We are talking of 35 million Ghanaians. We should not sit idly by and allow the chairperson or the chairman or the General Legal Council or any regulatory body to say that over my dead body will there be mass production of lawyers. That in itself, if we were, anywhere else, those remarks, the next minute, whoever made the remarks should resign, should step down.
And in this case, you're talking about the Chief Justice. She's the chair of the GLC.
Well, she doesn't want me to say Chief Justice. She wants me to identify her in legal matters, General Legal Council matters, as the chairperson of the General Legal Council. Yes. So the chairperson of the General Legal Council ought to have resigned the moment she remarked that she is not there to supervise mass admission. That casts a glare on previous Chief Justices and chairpersons. The previous chairpersons, were they supervising mass production? Was it not a serious indictment on previous? I mean, Evans, sometimes when we are in office, we must recognize that our predecessors have also played their roles. They've played their part. They've paid their dues. You may not like, the approach of your predecessor, but don't cast a slur.
I'm grateful that you joined us. That's Mr. Ansah-Asare there speaking to us on the issues that he's been dealing with the GLC and also the question of the mass failure of the students. A quick final word to Ben Abdallah, who is the chair of the committee. Ms. Abdallah, so the next steps are what exactly? What's the end game for you now that you've begun inquiring into this matter?
Okay, the next step is to the law students who sat their exams, for them to also come and explain their side of the story. We'll be putting what we've gathered from the General Legal Council before them, and they may have to respond in order that we can present a comprehensive report to the plenary. It is also worthy to know, because today we were told by the General Legal Council that a bill seeking to regulate the various law faculties is being put together, and it is now on the desk of the Attorney General. And then when it does come to Parliament, I think that we will have to work on that bill with all the alacrity that it deserves.
Okay.
And I think that this ought to be the way forward.
I'm grateful that you joined us. What's your thoughts on this? Send me a WhatsApp, 0244-340437.
Now, let's stay a while longer on issues relating to the former president. You heard him speak about the General Legal Council. He's been speaking about other things as well when he met the GJ executives. So he's accusing his successor, John Agyekum Kufuor, of the building of a hotel in a luxury apartment complex on a waterway in Accra. In the wake of recent flooding in parts of the capital, the illegal siting of structures blocking waterways has been isolated as one major cause of floods in the country. Addressing executives of the Ghana Journalists Association when they paid a courtesy call on him today, Mr. Rawlings said such impunity is a legacy former President Kufuor left behind.
We speak their language with the spirituality of truth, with integrity. But here, we can get away with speaking that language without integrity. We've corrupted it so badly, we can lie with it. There's nothing which will demand accountability from us, all the way up to the top. Nkrumah has left his legacy, freedom and justice, the freedom and justice arch, over there. I don't know of any other thing that he owns around, but I'm saying that that's something he left behind. Do you want to know the Kufuor one? Those villages and those things built in a waterway. So if he can do it, why can't others do it? Their houses and their factories on the southern side of the motorway, where it blocks the waterway, heavy rain, and WN is this thing die. Nobody could stop them. I said that's Nkrumah's legacy. We can see it. Kufuor, there's your legacy. You said you would take over this hotel because it's looking down into your house. You convert it to a library or clinic. You maintain it as a hotel. So what kind of double standard is this?
You heard the former president, Jerry John Rawlings. Let's get some reaction from the camp of former president John Agyekum Kufuor. Dr. Kwabena Osei Edubofo speaks for the former president John Agyekum Kufuor. We're grateful for your time here on Newsnight. So you've heard the former president Rawlings. Amongst others, he's accusing the former president of double standards. The issues about flooding, you know that the area around Villaggio and the area that the former president lives always floods when it rains. And he's lending some credence to it, saying that he's been accused of double standards and that he knows about these things, yet did nothing about it. In essence, questioning the legacy former President Kufuor left behind.
Yes, hello.
Hello, Doctor.
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay,
ma'am. Sorry.
Okay. So I'm asking for your reaction to what the former President Rawlings has been saying, in essence, accusing the former president of double standards.
Okay. To begin with, he talks about integrity. That's like the kettle calling somebody black, I mean, he's the last person to be able to talk about integrity. Number two, he also pontificates like he's a lover of former president, late president Nkrumah. I mean, this is far from the truth. He's not an Nkrumah lover. When Nkrumah was out of the country, Ike Champon gave a bungalow to the family of Nkrumah. It is scholars who took the bungalow from them and gave it to D.F. Annan for his residence for a long time. The family didn't have any residence in Ghana. It is President Kufuor who came to power and gave that residence back to them. Again, it was President Kufuor who rehabilitated the former First Lady, Fatia Nkrumah, when he came to power. And also, when Fatia died, and her wish before she died, that she be buried alongside her husband, President Nkrumah, we know what Rawlings talked about that. So it shouldn't be like he's a lover of Nkrumah. He is not.
But what are you seeking to do then, Dr. Edubofo, justify what he accuses former President Agyekum Kufuor of? He's saying that for the African region, specific issues he raises, the African region.
Let me come to the point. Please. Number one, Villaggio doesn't belong to Kufuor. Villaggio does not belong to Kufuor. It belongs to Tarakoni, the guy who developed Tasako Valley.
So he says that he allowed it when he knew that indeed it was in the waterway.
Who says that it's on the waterway? They must have gotten their permits from the AMA. Kufuor doesn't give permits. Who brings Nakra and goes to the president for permits? We have a department that gives permits. So if he has been able to get a permit from the authorities, why should you come and blame Kufuor for that? Besides, who told him that it's on the waterway? How many times has that place flooded because of Villaggio? That's not true. Now, getting back to the African Regent Hotel, somebody told, he built his hotel, he got his permit, he built the whole structure, and then he decides not to continue the project again, and then he sells it, and Kufuor's son buys it. I mean, what's the big deal about that? It is not on the waterway. Whatever it is, he got a permit for that. Why are you speaking like that? And it's a kind of thing. When did Kufuor or the son ever promise that the building is going to be used for a school or for a hospital, as he is alluding to? I mean, these things is too much. Anytime he gets the opportunity, he talks negative about the former president. Well, what's he trying to achieve here? You have to ask one of these days. There's flying in the crowd. We're talking about the flying in the crowd, and then he brings Kufuor in.
You have an idea what he's trying? Do you have an idea what he's trying to achieve?
I don't know what he's trying to achieve. The guy had a mandated 2-term rule, 2-term in power. He couldn't have gone further by the Constitution. Somebody succeeds you, and then you have a grudge against him. Somebody has to succeed him. He couldn't have gone to be president anymore. And Kufuor was the lucky guy to get to succeed him as a president. And then he takes a grudge against him. I do not understand him. We have to ask one of these days.
We're grateful. We'll have to leave it here. Dr. Kwabena Osei Edubofo, he speaks for the former President John Ejekumku for reacting to comments made by former President Rawlings today. Amongst others also, he's been advocating for review of how grades are awarded by universities. According to him, brilliant students, including his daughter, have suffered at the hands of lecturers who have asked for sex for grades.
Any sugar daddy, anybody would stop a car for her. But I guess she's trying to resist the temptation and all that. So she'd rather suffer it and wait for a throat shot when she'll get home late. Waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to prepare herself. She's not dumb. She and that colleague of hers, incidentally, I've had to pay her fees once. Yeah, when she wasn't going to get a chance to sit for her exams, the finals. Chief, she says she's going to fight it out. I'm going to keep my eye on it to see how far she will go. Not only have such brilliant girls getting unfair deals, like what I've just described, but apparently sometimes the dumb ones get upgraded, either first or second class honors or whatever it is, when everybody knows they are not worth it. I would like to see, just as I would advocate for markers, external markers, looking into remarking, examining those papers by some of those girls. I would wish they would examine some of the first class ones too, to see if their performance, their written what you call, corresponds to the mark they've been given.
Former President Jerry John Rawlings, you're still listening to Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM. What are your thoughts so far on what you've heard in the first 30 minutes of the bulletin? Do join us with your thoughts and comments via WhatsApp and Telegram also on 0244 340 437. Let's do business now with George Riafe. George, how are you doing?
Not bad, Emifa. Well, coming up in business, the economist Professor Eric Osei proposes some expenditure cuts to deal with the serious revenue shortfalls facing the economy. And MTN's profits ending September this year hits 690 million Ghana cedis. We'll tell you the drivers and what it means for you if you're a shareholder or a subscriber. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all your office essentials. And First National Bank, we are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank, how can we help you?
Everyone says I'm a Kosia filler, but it's not like I'm nosy or go out to find out the latest filler. It's just that I get 50 megabytes of data free after paying for only the first minute of every call. And so I just keep discovering stuff minute after minute. That's how come I was minding my business, scrolling through my timeline, and I found out Coco has a new baby. Oh, and last week I learned Ken won the lottery. You see, Ken is my brother's friend. So hello, look who's about to roll with the rich and famous.
Enjoy even more value with MTN Free After One. You only pay for the first minute of your call on MTN Free After One, and the rest is free. Plus, you enjoy free 50 megabytes worth of data to browse your favorite sites. Compare where, compare there. So dial *315# to sign up. We day for you everywhere you go. Terms and conditions apply.
But the best, we stay above the rest. More quality, more affordability. Kingdom Books and Stationery. Everybody's going to the one and only shop where customer satisfaction is a guarantee. Kingdom Books and Stationery.
Oh yes, with our 30 days credit facility with no interest charge, free delivery services, and our free consultation on setting up your office, Kingdom Books and Stationery is unmatched in our delivery of quality and affordable office essentials, equipment, and furniture.
Experience world-class customer service in all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Cape Coast, and Takoradi.
Call us on 0302-764-101
or visit our website at www.kingdomgh.com.
Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all office essentials and stationery. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, economist Professor Eric Osei-Sibe is proposing expenditure cuts to help deal with the serious revenue shortfall that has hit the economy and also help avoid another serious budget overrun by the end of this year. Now, this follows reports that government is likely to end the year not meeting its revenue target of about 58 billion Ghana cedis. The development could also affect government badly in terms of having a high deficit, more than the 5% that is actually targeted. Professor Sibe tells Joy Business how the expenditure cuts can be targeted.
In order to be able to maintain the confidence that the private sector, the development partners, DFI, development finance institutions have on government, it behoves on government to ensure that come what may, it actually meet this year's target. It's key. So if it calls for us cutting expenditure, it has to do. But most important thing also is when you are cutting expenditure, you have to make sure that you don't compromise on your growth levels. You have to make sure that you reprioritize your expenditure, you do expenditure rationalization to ensure that you spend on growth enhancing sectors of the economy and you cut down on expenditures that do not directly enhance growth, particularly on goods and services and on consumption expenditures.
Professor Eric Osei-Sibe is an economist. Now, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is downplaying any negative impact of the cancellation of the Millennium Challenge Compact Cash on the budget. The remaining $190 million Compact Cash was last week cancelled by the U.S. after the administration. Actually, this government cancelled the PDS deal without its approval. There are fears that this could help widen the budget deficit by the end of this year. But the Finance Minister insists there's no need for us to be worried about that situation.
The money from the MCC has nothing to do with the budget. That's 190 million meant for some capital expenditure that would support the electricity environment in general. So that has nothing to do with the budget.
So everything is deficits will not be worried?
It's not because of that. I mean, I think our real issue is the underperformance of revenue, and we need to figure out how much we can get in these 2 months and how much expenditure we can also manage over the period to be able to claw back.
But that's a big challenge. So how are you going to maneuver your way through? Because
I mean, the facts are as you said, and therefore with the new leadership at GRA, let's see what we can get. And then also looking at our expenditure patterns, let's see how we can manage.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. Now, MTN's profits ending September this year witnessed some significant increase. It went up by 14% to hit 690 million Ghana cedis. There is more on this following Business Desk report on the drivers of this growth in earnings.
According to its financial statements ending September this year, the profits was influenced by service revenue increased by 23%, supported by resilient growth in voice, data and mobile financial services. Voice revenue went up by 19%, mainly attributable to good growth in subscribers, customer value management and continued improvements made to the network. Based on the third quarter numbers, subscribers went up by just a little over 1% to 21.6%. However, total data subscribers decreased by 2.6% to 17.7%. But MTN says its active data subscribers went up marginally to 7.4%. Active mobile money users also went up by 5% to 15 million. Based on this sterling performance, according to MTN, revenue from its contract went up significantly to hit 3.7 billion cedis.
And that was a Business Desk report. And this development could result in some good dividend being declared to shareholders by the end of this year. Now, looking at these strong earnings as well, they could plow back some of these profits into areas that would help develop infrastructure for its subscribers. The National Insurance Commission, with funding from the Alliance for Green Revolution Africa, has moved to establish a comprehensive policy for the agricultural sector. The policy is targeted at all smallholder farmers to cushion them against the risk and uncertainties associated with farming in the country. Commissioner of the Insurance, Justice Ofori, spoke to Joy Business at a 2-day draft agricultural insurance policy workshop.
Agric is a good business, but it carries its own risk. Although we have some kind of agric insurance on our market that is being sold by the agric insurance pool, we don't have a national policy. So we have people who need insurance, but they can't afford it. We are looking at coming out with a policy to present to government. And if government accepts it, then it's going to be a national policy whereby there will be some kind of mechanism to intervene when people run into losses as a result of bad weather and other issues. That is going to also motivate people to actually enter into agric because they know that there's some kind of insurance to back them up should the unforeseen happen. It will also lead to employment opportunities. There are a lot of youth who would have loved to go into agric, but lack of insurance or national insurance policy for agric, they look elsewhere.
Justice Yao Fori is Commissioner of Insurance. And that's all for Business on Newsnight.
Thank you very much, George. A few of your messages on our social media platforms.
So we have this one from Atilu in Wa East in the Upper West region. It says the blame game in this country with regards to the flooding situation is simply mind-boggling. I think we can do better as a country than this pitiful attitude in addressing this yearly ritual. That's Daniel, your message. And this one also says we fail to tell President Kufuor's spokesperson that some buildings with genuine papers are built in waterways, and the one in question could be one. That's from Francis in Kumasi. And we have this one also saying that the General Legal Council's excuse is very flimsy because if about 50% of the law students deviated in the first question, then how come the percentage of those who fail the exams stand at 93%? Kofi Sedu is working on
an additional point that the General Legal Council and the examiners told the MPs is that in one of the questions, for example, the students were asked about the loss of Ghana, and there was a
Article 11 question.
Yes, and there was a preamble to the question which sought to say you just graduated from the law school, University of Ghana Law School, and you now have a consultancy. Tell your client about the loss of Ghana, and then according to the MPs, the GLC says some of the students started by saying that they are not students of the University of Ghana. In answering the question, they started by saying, well, we didn't go to University of Ghana, so
we can't even start
answering the question. Whether that was a joke or not. But it isn't, because both the chair and the ranking mentioned that. So it must have been something that was actually presented to them today. Well, still listen to Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM in the central region town of Ekwantanum in the Upper Dintra West municipality. A 55-year-old pupil teacher is providing free private basic education to about 300 children. The
Chumwa Educational Center, which was set up in 2012, however, faces closure due to its poor infrastructure. Joy News' Ernest Menu traveled to Nkwantanum and tells the story of how this philanthropic act is helping shape the future of children there.
So my father advised me to establish a school there to
meet Madam Patricia Fosulabi, headmistress and founder of the Chumwa Educational Center at Nkwantanum in the Upper Dintra West municipality. An assessment carried out by the Education Office in partnership with some NGOs indicates that only 0.5% of school pupils at the primary level here can read, write and understand, far lower than the national average of 2%. The good thing is all 270 pupils at the Chumwa Educational Center are schooling for free, and Tiama is determined to provide them with education in all its fullness as far as her resources can.
And we are trying our very best to improve the standard of especially the girl child. We teach these children all about life. So we are planning with the girls to learn something in their school so that they will be able to do something for themselves.
The decision to provide free education was made after it became apparent that the parents of these children could not afford to pay the 30 cedis per term for school fees.
Now,
Madame Patricia has been a pupil teacher for 39 years. Education remains her passion. She had hopes of becoming a top-notch educationist in the country. However, in her quest to upgrade herself and work towards her dream, something unfortunate happened.
That time it was in-service training for pupil teachers. So we were the first batch. We went to the first term, second term, and during the second time, I had the accident.
But the school faces closure due to its poor infrastructure. Here's the District Director of Education.
We have consulted her when we are doing training. We do invite her.
so that those children will not be, lacking other things. We do call her. We train with her. We've trained some of her teachers. Our DTO have visited the place. I have been there and I talk about the structure. The structure is not the best. You see, you cannot put that structure and put students in. You saw the structure. I've been there and I told her if it doesn't take care, I'll close the school.
Madame Patricia is worried all her efforts may go down the drain. She's therefore managed to save some money and has laid the foundation for a 3-classroom block. She hopes to transfer primary 1 to 3 pupils from the wooden structure once completed.
These are all temporary, but at the back of this building, we are going to build 3 classroom blocks. I have cement at the back of the building, cement blocks, about 1,200. I have 35 bags of cement that was given to me by the DC. And then I have iron rods.
Beneficiary parents have joined Madame Patricia Fosulabi in making a passionate appeal for support just for the sake of their children, Ghana's future leaders.
In the communities, when they are talking about well-behaved children, my children, those from this school, will be among them.
The next time you drive through Dentro Boase or in Kwantanum, make a stop at the Chumwa Educational Center and support this selfless vision of shaping lives and building a nation. Ernest Minu for Joy News.
I believe the children are our future.
Well, let's turn our attention now to sanitation in Kumasi, where officials of the Metropolitan Assembly have issued summons to residents of 10 households who have connected their toilets to one septic tank. What's worse, the septic tank was found to be leaking human excreta into an open drain. Erastus Asari Donko brings us more from the KMA Love and Inshira FM cleanup campaign from the Kwadaso estate today.
The effluent from this particular septic tank is leaking directly into the drain here, and there have been complaints by residents. Here is Mr. Basanyin, who is leading the sanitation enforcement team.
We are on house-to-house inspection this morning. We've come to one of the house, and then behind the house we have a big septic tank which has connected the effluent into public drain. What I'm going to do this morning is to unearth the pipe and then block the flow of water that is coming, or effluent that is coming from the tank. We are going to ensure that by 2 days' time, they dislodge the tank.
The liquid from your toilet is still flowing into the gutter. Why is that?
You know, it's not only one person using this septic tank, you see. So all the time, when you consult them, one will say, oh, I'm going to my work, I don't have time.
What are you going to do now? Do you feel responsible?
You don't hold me responsible. You are holding all of us responsible, not I alone.
But are you willing to do the right thing?
Yes, I'm ever willing to do it.
And the Clean Ghana campaign is on. Let's do sports now. Hans Mensando has the latest.
Hi, Nefa.
Hi.
And you guys were speaking some serious guy.
The things we talk about.
Yeah, sure. I know the microphones were on.
I'm speaking my dialect. What's the problem?
It's not a dialect.
What's
right, let's do sports. Not a Black Stars. We know the 23 players who have been called up by Coach Kwesi Appiah, but what is the itinerary for the Black Stars? Like, we get a look in here, and the team will begin campaign in Cape Coast on the 10th of November ahead of that 2021 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against South Africa. The Black Stars will host Bafana on the 14th of November at the Cape Coast Stadium in the opening game of the qualifiers. It will be the Stars' second game to be played at the Cape Coast Stadium. The game, we also understand, is likely to be played under floodlights according to reports, with kickoff set at 7 p.m. The players who have been invited are expected to arrive after the FIFA international break. And talking of the Black Stars, one player who most likely would have been a part of the team is Rafael Dramina. Yeah, and you understand he's got a heart condition that means that he's had to be sitting out training and matches at his club's side. Now he returned to his club's home venue to meet with Levante's president Kiko Catalan and visit his former teammate. Now, Jamina's career has been put on hold indefinitely after doctors at Real Zaragoza, where he was on loan, found something strange with his heartbeat and feared for his life. The player has been stopped from playing and training since the 9th of October 2019 after visiting several specialists in Barcelona, Zurich, and the medical service of the Ghana Football Association. There is still no definitive diagnosis of his situation, so he continues to wait to find out what the future holds for him.
I mean, this is really heartbreaking to
Absolutely.
see that a young, budding gentleman, and we've seen others before him with similar situations, just stop play.
Yeah.
And that can be very difficult
Fabrice
for a young man.
Mwamba easily comes to mind, and for Mwamba, he was dead for a period, according to
for several
doctors.
minutes,
Exactly.
close to an hour. And
he
had
was
to
lucky
revive.
to have had a doctor in the stands who rushed onto the field to, see to his condition. But, very, very heartbreaking that his career.
Well, we pray
has come to a halt.
a miracle might happen.
We hope so.
That they'll find some
We hope so. We
real
pray
cure
so.
for him, that he can get
That's
back
your
playing.
sport.
But thank you, Hans. And let's talk about flags, because they are generally used as symbols, signaling devices, or for decoration. Associations and countries have various reasons for settling on one type of flag or another. A regular scene at Ghana's coasts canoes having various flags high up. Now, John News' Joseph Akable spent some time at the Tema Fishing Harbour, where an argument ensued among fishermen on why they sail with distinct flags. Listen to his report.
The Manchester United, South Africa, Chelsea, United States of America, and of course, the red, gold, green with black star flags are sights to behold at many beaches across coastal Ghana. They don't signify existence of embassies of these powerful nations and football teams. While fishermen at the Tema Fishing Harbour mended their nets, I asked why they have their flags on their canoes. That stoked a heated argument.